Welcome back to Cheche, the program where opinion counts on Citizen TV. Today's guests both helped frame the Constitution, but they are divided on the Security Laws Amendment Bill, with Senator Kipchumba Murkomen defending it and Dr. Ekuru Aukot advocating for modifications. And in fact, the debate continued while we were on a break. And David, you were mentioning that one of the welcome proposals is the anti-stripping section, which says that a person who intentionally insults the modesty of any other person by intruding upon that person's privacy or strips such person is guilty of a felony and is liable to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 20 years. Wow. So there is some good in this.
The sanction is extreme compared to other similarly egregious offenses.
No, it says up to. So the discretion of the magistrate is up to 20. It could be 1 day.
Relative to other offenses?
Yes.
Others up to 3 years, up to 10 years.
It's just the thing is that
30 years, 20 years.
It's giving discretion to the, and you know, let's accept all of us that some of the things that have happened in the recent past, in terms of in matatus, in public...
the violation of women.
Yes, exactly. Are totally unacceptable. There is no excuse for such violations. Some of them actually were not just stripping, it was rape. Yeah. And so that discretion of up to 20 years is to also appreciate the circumstances under which the gravity of everyone, and it's for the magistrate to make a decision. Right. But 20 years as a maximum should also give an indication that it's a serious crime, and so we should deal with 10 years, you know, and above for people who are being punished for that.
I think that is a good thing. Yeah. There are other good things in the law. I was just saying, such as the one requiring landlords or to keep records of their tenants, the details, because you know you want to know who lives here, because terrorists are occupying premises and organizing things within it. But there's one that Murkomen was a bit uncomfortable about, of hotels keeping all the data on all the guests. Also, I'm concerned that one is okay. It's okay. But
what's wrong with that?
No. It's okay as a provision, but you need to have systems that can make sure that the data is not misused.
Yeah, I think.
But how are we dealing with that?
Again, and also, you know, hotels even now keep records, and they must keep records. The problem only is that you are filing those records to the police without really providing for security of that information, because then another person who might target you, would follow your patterns in terms of where do you go, where you usually go for meetings, and so forth and so forth. That certain privacy must be, the punishment must be provided for someone misusing that information for other reason, except for security reasons. That's the only problem I have.
Well, hopefully the committee is listening to that. But also on privacy, though, there is now no reason to go to court to monitor her phone conversations.
I have a problem with that a little bit. First of all, we should not provide for, in my own argument, in law, because all over the world that is ongoing. Even now, you've once in a while, for us, particularly when in public office, you're using your phone and you can see the interference that is going on within your phone, some cracking sound or something of that sort. I think I would rather we keep it that way, that they will always listen to our phones and so forth, and use that information to avert an action of terrorism and so forth, without actually using, having the right to automatically, under law, continue recording people. Because
that provision, just clarify that provision. Just make that clearer. You're saying that you...
I'm saying let it happen the way it's happening all over the world, that people are listening to this conversation silently. When they find someone who is engaging in terrorism activities, they look for other substantive evidence to link that person to actually that terrorism and then arrest the person. But you see that provision can be, is too general, that is possible also be used for other reasons. You know, that, you know, for any other criminal activity that's not terrorism, or any other activity, political or otherwise, one could always bring that information to the fore and argue that the law allows me to listen to your conversation. I would prefer the situation where it's happening all over the world. I know there have been complaints that Americans have tapped to presidents, have tapped to who, but I think it should continue without necessarily looking for a legal...
But and that takes us back to the very, one of the critical issues that I think I'm assuming this bill is trying to address, which is how we use our intelligence, how effectively we use those intelligence reports we gather either through tapping people's phones to avert possible terrorist activities, or how we seriously take intelligence as provided by people concerned, like Governor Roba, for example, came openly to say that he had actually given intelligence, and somebody actually failed to act on those intelligence. So what I'm saying is, yes, it could be a welcome thing in this law. But really, are we not just skirting around the real issues? The issues of accountability, the issues of people taking responsibility for some of these things. Like we said earlier during the break, that if we now want to give Kenyans the assurance that let's pass this law as it is. But can you also tell us who the person who failed to effect the intelligence reports of our Westgate, and we ended up losing about 69 Kenyans? And you know, I think for me, it goes back to reinforce the issue of this law. What assurance is it giving us that you know, we can use intelligence effectively?
Can I come to one?
For example, you'd have wished to see that an officer who fails to use intelligence received to do faces the following sanctions. There is no corresponding responsibility on official failure to use the intelligence. Nor have we seen accountability about it.
That already exists in the law. You didn't need to provide it again. But
also, I'm now happy Murkomen is coming back to things that exist.
For that point, they already exist in the law. These are amendments. It's not a new law.
Yeah.
And
but when we are
of course, you are creating a new. It's not a whole new legislation. And this amendment, by the way, is amending almost over 10 legislations. 21, yes. But also, let me say this: from the beginning of this conversation, none of my colleagues has opposed any specific provision of the law. They're just saying they're still existing and so forth. And I want to say...
we have been doing that very rigorous.
No, but there is no section that anyone has a problem with.
Political.
Let's reframe that so we don't confuse our viewers.
Yes.
We're taking issue with the Securities Amendments law because we believe, most people around this table believe that the laws already exist to protect Kenyans. The problem is that the laws have not been implemented.
Let me come to that point. I've just said nobody has a problem with this law except to say it is duplication. That is not a problem.
It is a problem.
It's not a problem. To duplicate a law with an existing one, substituting one with another is not a problem.
Duplication, but also...
There's no problem with duplication.
No, duplication, but also erosion. We did talk about erosion, and that's where we started.
Can I come to I'm making a point. I'm halfway.
Senator, let me correct
I'm halfway.
There is a problem with duplicating a law. All you are saying is you're actually indicting yourself as failed in the past.
No problem.
We've said that you have failed to use intelligence reports, you have failed to effect arrest, you failed, to account. So really, there is a problem. If you keep on passing it, where will you stop? Tomorrow you'll pass again another law?
Okay, fine.
Right now. So I'm just saying, nobody has a problem with the provisions of the law, except for the argument that duplication and so forth. And duplication actually does not exist because when you amend a particular section, nobody has showed me exactly duplicating which other act. But two is to say that we are not objecting, and I agree with Dr. here fully, that there are other issues. Law alone is not a solution to the security problem. It's part of the solution. We have said let's fix the law. We will also fix the human resource. We will also fix the other issues. But let's have a legal framework that allows, one of the greatest legislation that America put in place is the Homeland Security Act after the September 2001 September 11 Act.
9/11.
Terrorism, yes. The Patriots Act. And one of the biggest achievements of that act is to coordinate all these institutions that are dealing with matters of security, including private sector, 21 institutions in the Patriots Act. In this one, you will find that we have also done a lot of work in terms of coordination. Kenyans, the biggest complaint about Westgate was about coordination, that you found security officers coming there and they're looking at each other as to who will give command and who will take responsibility and so forth. Now we are providing institutions
of coordination. Isn't that a failure of leadership, though?
In some cases, it's extreme.
I agree.
The consolidation is extreme.
I have not accepted.
Take, for example, setting up the firearms licensing board.
Yes.
Why do you need the military KDF on that board?
But why why don't you?
Which is being set up in this amendment.
If you are licensing someone to carry a gun, what's the big issue for bringing another expert from military to sit there?
Because the police don't know all these guns.
Pardon?
The police don't know all the guns that exist.
You need to come from what was happening before.
No, it's putting the military everywhere in our life.
The police commissioner alone with a small team there, a cocoon of some sort, would decide who to get the firearm and who don't. Now we are making it more transparent so that there is a board that you can apply. The board chair is a civilian. It gives the opportunity for the other people to be able, and then there are military people sitting there. There's nothing wrong with that, so that we can make firearm application and holding a firearm a more transparent process.
Why do you need the military to make the process more transparent? I think, given that we've had a clear separation between external security and internal security.
Can you determine whether holding a gun is an external or internal?
Murkomen, the whole point is what is the function of the military? What is the function of the armed forces of Kenya in the constitution or even in the existing statutes that we have on the military?
Definitely.
Do they have to sit on the licensing of arms if this guy needs a firearm for his purposes, security?
If they sit, what will happen?
The point is,
what is the mischief of opposing one military representative to come and sit in a firearm? What's the mischief?
The point
I have no problem if they are even removed. It will not reduce the requirement that all other security agencies should sit there. We can even remove them. But the point is that do we need a board that is more transparent in terms of application of firearm? You do.
Yes.
So one person coming from the military should not make us...
It's important what we apply our institutions or different sectors
we have applied the same institutions for internal security and with the approval of Parliament.
Yes.
I mean, really, that is more grave than just an application of firearm.
We are saying that, I think the philosophy is this. Maybe let me explain. The philosophy
is
just
a minute, let David conclude and then we can move on.
The involvement of the military in our security operations and confine them to the functions of the military. And then we beef up our internal security mechanisms and organizations to deal with those situations. Otherwise, we are duplicating, doubling up roles.
I'm not addressing anything really, because we still have no accountability mechanisms.
I have no problem if we are to use our military for internal affairs, where there are matters of disaster, whether there is floods, whether there is construction. The Constitution allows with the approval of Parliament. But you know, this thing of someone sitting there to approve a gun, you can remove that military person. But let's discuss the main issue, that is the board. But even then, putting that person there does not take away the fact that those who are holding guns are people who are in the defense and people who are in the police. And therefore, they have the expertise to debate who is more qualified.
Can you go to the clauses that affect the media? That for media to publish things, you must get the permission from the police.
The National Police.
Can you talk about that?
There is that, but also gory, obscene, offensive material.
Yeah. I am personally very, very supportive of that section, because when Mandela happened, the first people to post were civilians who were having phones, mobile phones, and then they put it on Twitter, Facebook, and blogs and so forth. You know, the problem with that is that you are reading only from a perspective of an institution. Like, there is a provision for that institution as a media. I think the media houses, including yourself and others, have been very careful because they understand the law. There's already a provision for the media institutions for that. The only thing that has been provided here is the punishment has been enhanced for the media institutions. But already the Media Act, it's already providing for that you do not publish those obscene materials and gory and so forth. But now there is we must address a new section of the media, which is an individual, just walking anywhere, taking a picture, whatever. You gave a very good example. You see how the media was covering the Pakistan issue. You saw the way Sydney one. I mean, you saw the way they covered September 11. There's a way you can cover news without necessarily glorifying the terrorists. You are showing them praying. Why? You're showing them praying for what? To show that they have succeeded? You see, as a country, there is a level of patriotism that must go also with what we report, both from the mainstream media, but also as individuals. And if we don't punish that, can you imagine the first thing a family member is getting is from a Twitter? You are media practitioners. You know very well that media houses will wait until the family is informed that so and so has died. But with the new media, people take pictures and then they post. Suddenly you are in Australia, you are in America, online you see your relative has died. Okay. So you must accept that.
Just a minute, let's come back to the media issue, because apparently there's some breaking news that we've got to cross over to. You're watching Cheche. We're discussing the Securities Amendment laws.